Let me ask you something uncomfortable. How much of your life are you actually living, and how much are you just getting through? Be honest. Are you waking up every day with a fire in your chest, or are you hitting snooze and sleepwalking through a routine that doesn't even belong to you anymore? Most people aren't stuck because of circumstances, they're stuck because they've convinced themselves that this is just how life is. They're stuck in the lie that they need more time, more motivation, more clarity, more permission. But deep down, they know better. And if that's you, if you've ever caught yourself saying, I could do more, I could be more, but, then you already know what I'm talking about. Let me rip the band. Date off, you're not confused. You're not waiting for the right time. You're not held back by lack of potential. You're just not doing what you know you need to do, and that's on you. But the good news, you can take your life back. Starting right now, it won't happen because of some sudden burst of inspiration. It won't happen when everything feels perfect. It will happen the moment you get brutally honest, face your fear, and start doing the hard stuff anyway before you're ready, before you're confident, before you're sure. Because you don't need more information. You need a decision, and then you need action. So today, we're cutting the excuses. We're dropping the waiting game. We're going to talk about the truth behind what's really holding you back and how to finally break through it. Let's go. You already know what to do, you're just not doing it. That's the truth nobody wants to say out loud. You're not confused. You're not lost. You're not stuck. You're avoiding. You're hesitating. You're procrastinating because doing the thing you know you need to do means confronting the part of yourself you've been hiding from. Let's stop pretending this is about needing more time or more information or the right mindset. You already have enough of all of that to start. What you don't have and what most people lack is the willingness to get uncomfortable, to risk being wrong, and to face the consequences of taking your life seriously. Look at your life, scan it. Where are you coasting? Where are you waiting? Think about that one thing that has been nagging at you, the job you hate, the relationship you've outgrown, the side hustle you never touch, the health routine you plan to start. That's the thing. That's the thing you already know how to fix, but you don't do it. Why? Because it's easier to keep yourself busy with distractions. Easier to stay in your bubble of frustration than it is to break the cycle. But here's the kicker. Every day you don't act, you're choosing this life. You are actively deciding to waste your own time. No one is doing it to you. No one is keeping you stuck but you. The internet has made it worse. You consume content that tells you how to live your best life, how to build habits, how to be productive. You follow the right accounts. You save inspirational quotes. You watch other people change their lives and tell yourself your moment is coming. But it's not until you do something. Consuming advice isn't the same as living it. Knowing what you should do doesn't matter. Execution is the only thing that counts. That's the line between the people who build momentum and the ones who stay where they are. You can either be a collector of advice or a doer of hard things. You cannot be both. And stop lying to yourself that you'll feel ready one day. That day doesn't exist. The problem isn't lack of readiness, it's fear. Fear of failure, fear of success, fear of change, fear of people's opinions, fear of losing what you already have. But fear isn't a good enough reason to stay stuck. Fear is just energy waiting to be directed. The people who change their lives feel the fear and move forward anyway. They don't wait to feel brave. They act their way into courage. You have the ability to do the same, but you won't access it until you stop outsourcing your power. Stop waiting for a sign, a perfect moment, a push. The sign is the anxiety you feel every time you avoid doing what matters. The perfect moment is the one you're wasting right now. The push has to come from you. The most honest question you can ask yourself is, if I already know what to do, why am I not doing it? And be ruthless with the answer. Maybe it's because you're addicted to comfort. Maybe you've built your identity around being the almost person, the almost fit, almost disciplined, almost ready person. Maybe you're scared that if you actually go for it, you won't have an excuse anymore. That once you try, you'll have to take responsibility for what happens. But here's the reality, not doing it doesn't protect you. It's already costing you. Every day you stay in the same loop, you are reinforcing a belief that you can't trust yourself, that you can't follow through, that you don't deserve more, and the longer you reinforce that belief, the harder it gets to break it. You need to wake up to the fact that knowing and not doing is the same as not knowing. You're not failing because you're not capable, you're failing because you're not moving. Action is what breaks the spell. You don't need more clarity. You need more courage. You don't need a perfect plan. You need a starting point. There is no shortcut, no trick, no hack. It's just you and your choices. You and your habits. You and your willingness to stop explaining your inaction and start executing despite the discomfort. Discomfort is the price of change. It's the entry fee, the toll at the gate. The truth that most people run from, and the reason why so many never move beyond the life they say they want to escape. Everyone talks about change like it's a magical transformation, like one day you'll wake up and it'll just happen. But it doesn't. Change is not a lightning strike. It's a grind. It's a decision you make over and over again, often with zero certainty and zero guarantees. And the moment you choose it, you also choose discomfort. That's the trade. You can't evolve and stay comfortable at the same time. One cancels out the other. Think about the last time you actually grew as a person. It didn't happen when things were easy, did it? It happened in the mess. It happened in the heartbreak, in the failure, in the confusion, in the season where nothing made sense. You were uncomfortable, maybe even miserable, but you kept going. And eventually, that pain shaped you into someone stronger, someone clearer, someone more capable. Yet the next time discomfort shows up, you want to run. You want the shortcut. You want the change without the stretch. That's not how this works. Discomfort is not the enemy, it's the sign you're in the right place. It's proof that you're pushing beyond your current limits. When you start a workout program and your body hurts, that's discomfort. When you set boundaries and people push back, that's discomfort. When you go after something and self-doubt shows up screaming, that's discomfort. These are not problems to solve, they're signals to pay attention to. They mean you're disrupting old patterns. They mean something new is being built. And yes, it's hard. It's supposed to be. Change that's worth anything will stretch you. You don't get to stay the same and also become someone new. We live in a culture obsessed with ease and convenience. We want the hack, the 5-minute version, the passive income, the path with the least resistance. And when things get hard, we think something must be wrong. No, that's the process working. That's the transformation taking root. Discomfort is what teaches you discipline. It's what forces you to confront your excuses. It reveals what you're made of. You cannot grow without resistance. Every muscle in your body needs tension to grow. Your mindset is no different. There's this lie that if something is meant for you, it'll be easy. That's nonsense. Things that matter most are often the hardest to pursue. If you're trying to level up your career, it's going to be uncomfortable. You'll have to take risks, face rejection, learn new skills, unlearn bad habits. If you want to build real confidence, you'll have to stop hiding and start doing things that scare you. If you want better health, you'll have to stop choosing temporary comfort over long-term well-being. In every scenario, discomfort is part of the deal. Not a glitch in the system itself. But here's the good part. Discomfort doesn't last forever, it's temporary. Growth is permanent. You don't stay in the painful part. You push through it. You adapt. You get stronger. The more discomfort you willingly walk into, the more capable you become. And it's a compounding effect. Every time you do something hard, you're training your brain to stop flinching, to stop retreating. You're building emotional resilience. You're showing yourself that you can survive challenge and not just survive, but come out the other side more powerful than you were before. You want change, get comfortable being uncomfortable. That's the rule. The faster you stop resisting the discomfort, the faster you make progress. Stop looking for ways around it. Go through it, face it, lean into it, because every excuse you use to avoid discomfort is also an excuse to stay exactly where you are. And if you're serious about taking your life back, if you're done wasting time, you'll stop negotiating with discomfort and start welcoming it as a necessary part of the process. Waiting for motivation is a trap. It's one of the biggest lies people tell themselves, that they'll act when they feel like it. That they'll start the business, the workout, the hard conversation, the writing, the project when the timing feels right, when the stars align, when inspiration strikes. But the truth is, that moment rarely comes. And if it does, it's fleeting. Motivation is not a fuel source you can rely on. It's inconsistent. It's emotional. It comes and goes like the weather. And if you're structuring your life around waiting for it, you are guaranteed to stay stuck. Think about it. How many times have you known exactly what you needed to do and still didn't do it? Not because you didn't have the time, or the tools, or the talent, but because you didn't feel motivated. That feeling became your excuse. You were waiting to feel ready, waiting to feel energized, waiting for some magical push. And in that waiting, you lost momentum. You let hours turn into days, days into weeks, and then you told yourself a story about why it didn't happen. That story, the one that says, "I just didn't feel it," is the trap, because what it really means is, "I didn't take control." Motivation is not the driver of action, it's the result. It comes after you start, not before. You build motivation by doing, by showing up when you don't want to, by doing the workout when you're tired, by opening the laptop when you're uninspired, by speaking up when you'd rather stay silent. That initial resistance, that's normal. That's your brain protecting you from effort and risk. But you don't have to obey it. You can override it. Action is how you rewire the brain. Every time you act without motivation, you're training yourself to stop being emotionally dependent. You're building internal discipline, and discipline always beats motivation. This is where most people get it wrong. They think people who achieve great things are constantly motivated. No, they're just consistent. They've learned that motivation is a nice bonus when it shows up, but never a requirement. They don't rely on it. They rely on structure, habits, systems. They create a life where the action happens regardless of how they feel. That's the real superpower, doing the hard things when you least want to. That's what builds progress, confidence, self-respect. If you wait until you feel like it, you'll never write the book. You'll never build the brand. You'll never heal the relationship, because the beginning is always the hardest. The beginning is where doubt is the loudest and your energy is the lowest. And in that moment, if you let how you feel be the deciding factor, you'll choose to stay exactly where you are. You don't need to be in the mood to change your life. You need to decide that your life matters more than your mood, that your goals deserve more than your temporary comfort, that your future is worth being uncomfortable today. Let's be brutally honest. Motivation is a luxury. Most days, you won't feel like doing the things that actually matter. You won't feel like eating clean. You won't feel like showing up to the gym. You won't feel like doing the deep work. You won't feel like having the uncomfortable talk or making the risky move. If you make your decisions based on what feels good in the moment, you'll always choose the easier option, the scroll, the snack, the delay, the excuse. But that easier option always leads to regret. Always. Because what's easy now makes life harder later. What's hard now makes life easier later. That's the trade. So here's the truth. If you want change, you cannot wait to feel like it. You must start even when you don't. You must move even when it's uncomfortable. You must build momentum before your brain catches up. That first push, that first step is everything. Because once you get going, your emotions shift. Action creates energy. Movement builds motivation. You start to feel better not before you act, but because you acted. That's the key. Flip the script. Don't wait to be motivated, move first. Let motivation catch up with you. Every excuse you have is a lie you tell yourself. It sounds harsh, but it's the truth that can wake you up if you're willing to hear it. Excuses feel real, that's what makes them dangerous. They sound like logic. They sound like facts, but most of the time, they're just fear in disguise. Fear dressed up as reason. They are the protective stories you tell yourself, so you don't have to take responsibility, don't have to risk failure, don't have to face the discomfort of doing what needs to be done. Excuses keep you safe, but they also keep you small. Let's break it down. You say, I don't have time. That's not true. You have 24 hours just like everyone else. What you mean is, I don't want to prioritize this. You say, I'm too tired. Maybe, but how are you using your energy? What habits are draining you? What choices are contributing to that exhaustion? You say, I don't know how. Okay, but have you tried to learn? Have you Googled it? Watched a tutorial? Asked someone for help? Or are you using the excuse of ignorance to stay stuck where it's comfortable? Every one of these statements feels like a valid reason, but under the surface, they're just ways to avoid taking uncomfortable action. Excuses serve a purpose. They give you an out. They give you a way to protect your ego. If you never try, you never fail. If you never show up, no one can criticize you. If you stay thinking about it forever, you never have to face whether or not you're capable. But that safety is a prison. It's a cage you build brick by brick every time you give in to the voice that says, not now. Maybe later. I can't. It's not the right time. That voice is not your friend. That voice is not protecting you. It's suffocating your potential. It's stealing your future one excuse at a time. What makes this even harder is that we've normalized excuse making. Society gives you permission to lower your standards. There's always someone who will agree with your excuses, friends, family, even influencers, people who will tell you, yeah, you've got a lot going on. You've been through a lot. You deserve to take it easy. And yes, grace matters. Compassion matters. But let's not confuse compassion with complacency. Grace is about acknowledging the hard stuff and choosing to grow anyway. Excuses are about using the hard stuff as a reason to stay exactly the same. And let's be clear, everyone has excuses. Everyone has reasons to quit, to slow down, to wait. The difference between those who succeed and those who don't is not that one group has it easier. It's that one group stops believing their own excuses. They recognize them for what they are, lies that feel true, and act anyway. They feel fear and move forward. They feel doubt and keep going. They hear the same inner resistance, but they choose not to let it run the show. That's what separates progress from paralysis. Excuses also grow stronger the more you use them. Every time you avoid doing the thing you know you should do, you reinforce the belief that you can't, that it's too hard, that you're not ready. Over time, you build an identity around your limitations. You become the person who never finishes, who always starts and stops, who watches other people move ahead and wonders why nothing's changing. But it's not your circumstances holding you back. It's your belief in your excuses. That belief is optional. That identity is not permanent. You can challenge it, but only if you're willing to stop lying to yourself. So what would it look like if you called yourself out? What if, instead of saying, I can't, you asked, what would it take? What if, instead of I'm too busy, you said, I haven't made this a priority yet? What if, instead of hiding behind, I don't know where to start, you picked one small action and did it badly? That shift from excuse to ownership is where everything begins to change. Not because it's easy, not because it feels good, but because it puts you back in control. The truth is, you don't need permission. You don't need more time, or more clarity, or more motivation. You need to get honest. You need to stop accepting the version of your life built on delays and rationalizations. You need to hear your own excuses and say, that's not who I want to be anymore. Because the only thing standing between where you are and where you want to be isn't talent or luck or timing. It's the story you keep telling yourself, and whether you're finally ready to stop believing it. Start before you're ready. Clarity comes from action. That's the truth nobody wants to hear, because it removes the illusion of safety. It strips away the comforting lie that if you just wait long enough, think hard enough, or plan perfectly, everything will feel right and the path will magically unfold. But that's not how growth works. That's not how goals are achieved. Readiness is not a prerequisite for movement, it's often a result of it. You don't become confident before you act. You gain confidence by acting. You don't figure everything out and then start. You start and then you figure things out along the way. The idea that you need to feel ready is one of the most common and paralyzing myths. Readiness is not a feeling, it's a decision. It's a choice to move despite the fear, despite the uncertainty, despite the fact that your hands are shaking and your voice isn't steady yet. Everyone who has done something meaningful started without all the answers. They didn't know if they'd succeed. They weren't sure it would work, but they moved anyway. They launched the product. They hit publish. They made the call, and in doing so, they created the momentum that revealed the next step. You gain clarity through experience, not contemplation. You learn what works by trying, failing, adjusting, and trying again. That's how you sharpen your skills, refine your vision, and build your resilience. The answers are in the doing, not in another podcast, another self-help book, or another journaling session. Those tools have value, but they can't replace action. Action is what cuts through doubt. It's what separates the dreamers from the doers. You can read 1,000 quotes and still be in the same place, but one imperfect step forward can shift everything. Most people never start because they're waiting for a feeling that never comes. They want to feel 100% certain. They want to be guaranteed success. They want someone to say, yes, this will work, before they take the leap. But here's the truth. Certainty is earned through risk, not offered as a reward for hesitation. You want to build something meaningful. You're going to have to act without guarantees. You're going to have to trust that you'll figure it out as you go, because you will. You're more capable than you think, but you'll never find that out until you're in motion. And you don't need to take a massive leap. That's another lie that holds people back. You think you need a big breakthrough, a bold gesture, a perfect plan. No, you just need to start. Small is enough. Messy is fine. Uncomfortable is expected. Take the meeting, send the email, go to the gym, make the first sale, record the first video. Take one tangible action and then another. Each one builds your clarity. Each one helps you see the landscape a little more clearly. But nothing reveals what's possible until you stop standing still. There's a reason clarity lives on the other side of action, because action gives you feedback. Real, raw data, not theory, not guesses. Actual results you can work with. You learn what doesn't work. You learn what feels right. You discover where your passion comes alive and where it fades. You notice your strengths. You uncover new interests, you meet people, you adapt, you shift, you grow. None of that happens while you're thinking. It only happens while you're doing. Fear will always tell you that you're not ready. That's its job, to protect you, to keep you from risk, from failure, from embarrassment. But growth lives in those risks. Confidence is built through repetition, not readiness. No one becomes a leader, a creator, an entrepreneur, an athlete, a writer before they've started. They become those things by starting. You don't wait to feel like a runner before you run. You run, and eventually, you believe you're a runner. Identity is built through repeated action, not imagined in stillness. And yes, you'll probably make mistakes. You'll feel awkward. You'll question yourself. But those experiences are the path, not a detour. The lessons are in the doing, and the sooner you start, the sooner you learn. The people you admire, the ones doing what you dream of, they didn't have it all figured out. They just began. They acted in the fog. They trusted the process. They showed up before they felt qualified. And clarity met them on the road, not at the starting line.